Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Anchor for the Week. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Sadie.
And we are your friends here to have those hard conversations with you.
Here we are.
Yeah, it's just us two today.
It is.
I feel like it's been a minute since we've just had
It has.
Courtney
Honestly,
and
like,
Sadie.
since the start of, this new era.
Oh my gosh, it's true.
We've
Wow.
introduced you to so many of our friends.
We just
and
have too
now
many friends.
We have
Including you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Aggressively points towards camera.
Including you. Honestly, though, I think, like, all the conversations that we've had have been so good.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. They've all made me think, you know?
Absolutely.
Which is, I think, the whole point. But
Oh,
as well, I
definitely.
hope it made everyone else think.
Yeah. And I think it just really has become like, oh yeah, that's literally what we wanted.
Yeah.
We wanted people to like join the conversations that we're having with our friends.
Yeah. And
Because
to
they've
take-
impacted us.
Exactly. And then to take those topics and go have conversations with your friends and like
Absolutely.
feel like you can, you know?
Exactly.
But yeah. This is our end of the year episode. This is
Cue
the last
emotional music.
I know, right? Like tiny violin. I don't know. But yeah, this is the last episode of the year. So we will be seeing all of you guys in January. But we wanted to just end big but simple.
But big, but small.
Yeah, big but small.
Intentionally.
That's the word. End intentionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, should we kick off with
Let's just kick off.
some of the questions that we had?
So basically, we're feeling very nostalgic, a little bit introspective, retrospective.
Reminiscent, yes.
Any other buzzwords we could throw in?
In hindsight.
In hindsight.
Like, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. But essentially, like, I don't think it's just been an interesting year. But of course, like, as a podcast, we've also started again after about a year.
Yeah.
And we started very differently than what it was. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not someone that's very much like, okay, new year, new me. I'm going to totally change my personality.
Right.
Like, I don't obviously know. But I do love that, like, we've kind of, like, categorize is not the right word, but, like, set limits to our years. Or, like,
Yeah.
I like that we have distinctive seasons.
Mm.
Because I like to look back and be like, okay, like, what actually happened? You
Yeah.
know? Or what did we learn? Or
Yeah,
how did
yeah.
we grow? And all these things. So
Honestly, yeah.
that's my emotional moment for you. I'm sure there'll be so many more, though.
I mean, speaking of moments, one of the end of year questions I had was, what was a moment this year that kept you anchored?
That's so...
And it can be as broad, as small, as whatever.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, we kind of know these questions. We figured out these questions earlier today.
Yeah. I forgot them already, though, so...
Oh, I mean, I forgot them. I freaking wrote them this
Okay.
morning. And I already, I worked, and then I came here, and I was like, what?
I was like, we're just going to talk about anchored.
Yeah,
Being
anchored.
That's what
But it's not, I mean, we can think in real
Yeah.
time, which is nice and real as well.
Yeah.
But
I think this is good, though, to have, like, I don't know, like, when you have questions like this that force you to think.
yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, well, everything kept me anchored, whatever, you know?
Right.
But
Or you can think of, like, a very specific,
A
like,
specific
amazing moment. But, like,
yeah. I don't know if there's one specifically, but already off the bat, I know that it's going to be one of my, like, many breakdowns that I've had.
Yeah.
I don't know. So many.
So
many.
many breakdowns.
So many breakdowns one year. So many tears cried. I reminisce on the days where I used to not cry. Oopsies.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, go for it.
I don't think that if there's like a specific one I could think of
Yeah.
at this moment, which is
And I
maybe
think that's okay.
for the better.
Yeah.
But like, I think just having those moments, because usually like the crying comes with like some sort of either like release or realization,
Oh, yeah.
you know? And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, like this was a year that I called it Enjoy More 2024.
Wow.
It was very difficult.
Yeah, difficult to enjoy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think that like, but I really, it just been the past couple years have been very hard. That I
yeah.
really just wanted to like, okay, like I want to actually see the beauty of things. And if I'm having a good time, just have a good time, you know? But I also think that in order to enjoy like the heights, you have to also like be aware in the depths. You know what I mean? Like you can't
Yeah.
ignore the depths because then you're not really enjoying anything. You're just kind of numbing yourself.
Right.
And so I think this year in my pursuit of trying to enjoy more and celebrate more, like, I think it made me have to face a lot of things. But I think that there's so much beauty in those moments.
Yeah.
And I would say that those honestly probably kept me pretty anchored this year.
No, yeah. I think mine's pretty similar, to be honest.
Nice.
Because I think, I mean, I heard this saying recently, and it's something I've always known, but like to hear it again, you're like, oh, yeah, that is true. Of, you know, us being Christians, like, it's so easy to praise God, to love Jesus, to be rooting for him when you're feeling high, right? But then I heard it said recently where, like, but you really get to know him and get to know you when you're, like, in your lows.
Absolutely.
You know? And so I think honestly some of my worst lows of my life have happened this year. But it's also been such a good year.
Yeah.
You know, like I can say that now in retrospect, in hindsight, right? Of being like, oh wow, okay, this was tough, this was tough, this was tough. But at the same time, like I'm so grateful and blessed to have those moments because I've learned more about who I am and who God is, you know, and who he is to me specifically.
Yeah.
Like just one moment I think of now, like, oof, just really airing my dirty laundry here. I was like on my way home one late night and I was just really struggling with, I personally struggle with like being in community sometimes. And like, especially because I live in community, you know, we live in a house, you know, full of people. And it's like, I was on my way home and I was just like, I just don't want to be around anyone. And I know I'm going to walk home and I'm going to come inside and everyone's going to be there, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to like walk around the block and I was like crying and I was like praying and I was just like, you know, just going through the motions. And I remember I came in and I, you know, put on my facade, like everything is fine, you know, had a laugh with some people. And then I remember like everyone was going to bed and I was just staying up late. I was just, I don't know, just watching TV or trying to numb myself, to be honest.
Relatable.
Yeah. And I was just like in the kitchen and I ended up just laying on the floor of the kitchen. And I was just crying and I was just like, God, like, why do, you know, like, why am I feeling like this right now? Why am I feeling like this? Like, eyes closed, crying. I think I had, like, my music in as well. And then I literally, Alyssa, who's, like, one of my dearest friends, if not my dearest friend, like, is there, like, appears, just taps me on the shoulder. And I remember I, like, opened my eyes, and she's just, like, looking at me, like, on
you
the,
okay?
like, literally splayed on the floor, like, crying. And she's like, dude. And then, like, we had an amazing moment and got to pray, and, like, it was just one of those moments where I'm just reminded, you know, sometimes I struggle to be in community, but also it's so, so, so important. And I've said that before on the podcast, but I think for me specifically, like, knowing that I'm always going to have someone that I can just, like, cry with, you know, to be with. And that you know, I needed that a lot this year. And that was just one of those moments, you know, that I really, really was like, wow, yeah, this is good, you know. But yeah.
The beauty in the breakdown.
The beauty in the breakdown. Amen.
And even better when there's someone else there that you trust.
Actually, though.
But it's true, because I don't think I've ever felt, well, no, sorry. Don't talk in extremes like that, Courtney. But I rarely feel alone in my breakdowns.
Yeah, actually, though.
But I think it's, because, but there's such a vulnerability in that. Like, you have to, and that's why I think the moments with God are so, like in the deep places are so rich and so intimate, because you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So like, there's no, like I am what I am.
Yeah.
So when you actually get to experience that with other people too, like, this is me lying on the kitchen floor, or this is me bawling my eyes out while we're, you know, building this place, you know, which has happened many times to me, like, in that part of the year. But, like, it just invites people into an intimacy. I think that's just so beautiful. And, like, it is, like, it's rare.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, like, well, not rare, but, like, not our instinct.
No. And it, like, it's almost weird to say, like, it takes courage, you know? It takes, like, that step of being like, I'm going to allow you to see this, you know, part of me, which is hard.
Yeah.
And whether that's before God or before your friends, you know, like, obviously God knows us.
Yeah.
But he also wants us to be honest and to be vulnerable, you know, with him. But yeah.
Hey, great answers. I panicked at first.
We're keeping it big, but we're keeping it small.
Exactly.
Cool. Next one was, what is a quote or a verse that's kept you anchored this year?
Yet I still dare to hope. It's literally tattooed on me. And I got this tattooed on my birthday last year, so it's technically cheating. But my birthday's in August, so, like, really,
it's like,
you know,
most of this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Carried over.
I carried over. But, like, I wanted to get it in a place where I could see it. And I just knew that, but I underestimated how important that is.
Yeah.
And, like, because it's from a verse in Lamentations, right? Which is basically, it's Lamentations 3. And it starts out, and it's like, because it's Lamentations, so lamenting, right? Like, super dramatic, super, like, life is awful right now. And it was at that time, you know, for the person. But it was like, I will never forget this awful, like, time.
Yeah.
But yet I will still dare to hope.
Amen.
For the Lord's mercies are new every morning, and, you know, he's faithful, and, like, all these things. And that really stuck with me. And yeah, I was like, I'm gonna get this tattooed on my dang body.
That's so good.
And I see it. I'm right-handed. It's on my right arm, so I'm always seeing it. It's
right
facing
there.
towards me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I literally look down, and I'm just go, oh yeah, I still dare to hope. Because hope is risky.
It is.
It's so risky, and I think, like for me, part of the reason why the past couple years have been so difficult was because I didn't realize I lost hope. Like,
wow.
it's just in a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of in life in general. But you can go on living thinking that you're fine. Oh, but I'm still happy, but I'm still this. But like, hope is such a sacred thing.
Yeah.
You know, like that really is like at the root of us. And realizing that like I can still dare to hope, even if things are not good.
Yeah.
Why? Because my hope does not actually depend on me. You know, so even if I don't feel it, that's okay. But just like don't lose it.
Yeah.
Like don't lose that. Like, yeah.
That's so good.
Thank you.
Wow. I think I'm trying to think. Mine are again along the same lines. I think mine is Psalm 77. I'm gonna paraphrase it. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it's like that entire chapter. That's basically like. It is kind of David lamenting, but it's him being like most.
Or so encouraging, guys.
Yeah, most of Psalm is David lamenting as well. But it basically talks about like how he's talking to God about like all of this stuff is happening to him. Why aren't you here? Like, why aren't you listening to me? Like, I think part of it says something of like, I get no sleep, right? Like I'm groaning, I'm moaning, like all of this, my spirit is hurting and all that kind of stuff. Paraphrasing. But then at the end of the chapter, it says, but yet I'm going to recall all these things that you have done and continue to like put my faith in that, you know, to know that like even now, and what I love about that chapter though, is that he is so honest with God in the beginning, which is literally what I just said of like him. He doesn't just shy back and be like, you know, it's easy to be like, oh God, you're so good. Yeah, you're so good. Even though inside you're like struggling to accept that. Yeah, and believe it. He's literally just like, God, where are you? You know? But he still is just like, and yet, like, I know that you are, and yet I dare to hope, you know? Like,
I was like, there's so much power in the yet.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like,
but God, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's so, like, I just realized that, like, I just have a really big passion for Christians to be more real.
Yeah.
And, like, it's in the yet. It's like, two things can simultaneously be true at one time.
Exactly.
You know, like, before you go, oh, Courtney's all about relative truth now. No.
No.
You know what I mean? But it's like, God can be good and my heart can be broken.
Yeah.
That's fine. Because that's true. My heart can be broken, yet God is still good.
Amen.
Like,
yeah.
The yet, I don't know, it's just such a precious thing that we hate because I want everything to be good. Or if everything's bad, then everything's bad.
Right.
You know, because it just, I don't want to live in the tension, but there is so much tension.
Bruh.
Anyway.
Didn't know this was going to go that way, but here
we are. Wow.
It's great.
We came on here for a little laugh. Little end of the year chuckle. Okay, so next question. We're going to keep it, well, let's say a bit more light, but we like take everything light.
I like you're like, make it light. And now we're talking about our breakdowns.
All of our deepest, darkest, most intimate moments with the Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, but my question is, what is a pop culture moment from 2024 that made you think the most?
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, this is also hard because I really feel like I need to look at a list of everything that's happened.
I know, right?
Because I can only remember the past 2 months.
I know.
Like,
but to be fair, like I feel like the past 2 months has been the most intense pop culture stuff happening.
Yeah.
But again, maybe I'm just forgetting things that happened earlier in the year.
I don't know because so maybe this is not gonna really count because we're gonna like answer together.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah, but the things that like I immediately think of Chapel Roan. Okay, because what's her album called? The Rise and Fall of a Midwestern.
Yeah.
Something.
Queen? Question mark?
Girl?
Well,
Cowgirl.
Fact
I don't
check
know.
that. Yeah.
Cowgirl seems right.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm thinking Pink Pony Club. That's why.
Ah.
I don't think it's a cowgirl. Midwestern. Anyway.
Chapel Roan.
Chapel Roan, right? Ironic that it's called that because I feel like she had this skyrocket and then also everyone just started dragging her.
Yeah.
But I feel like we can probably dive into this into a future episode.
We could. So maybe we'll.
Yeah, but that whole like we love her and then all of a sudden we don't.
Literally like the internet just turned on her so quick.
It's crazy to me.
But the internet does it with everybody, you know?
I know.
Which is, again, a whole other topic we could
which we probably will.
Yeah, we will eventually.
Wait till the new year, guys.
Stay tuned, right?
Of course, we have the Diddy scandal.
Yeah. But even beyond the Diddy scandal, the Beyonce scandal. Yeah. It almost feels like
that's bigger now.
Lord Voldemort. Like, I feel like I can't say her name anymore. You know, like, she who shall not be named. Like, she's going to come for me.
She's going to come for us.
Like Beetlejuice saying the name 3 times. That has been like my quote unquote Roman Empire for the past month. I don't know. It's been going on for a hot minute.
Yeah.
But I genuinely feel like that one is probably the one that's made me think the most.
Yeah.
And not just on like a surface level, because it has.
Yeah.
It's been like, ooh, look at all these conspiracies. But also genuinely around like, I don't know, just the context of power and fame. And I brought this up last night, I think it was, because we were also chatting about Liam Payne's death.
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say
how
too, like,
tragic it was.
like, yeah,
But I was thinking about more deeply as well, like not just about, obviously his death is so sad, but it's just made me think about how humans are not made to carry the kind of like glory that we are giving other humans.
I know.
You know, like praising all these stars and celebrities, which comes back to Chaperone, right? Of how we lift people up on these pedestals and we praise them and praise them
and tear them right down.
and then tear them down.
Or we even like, okay, again, I'm not famous. I can't really say this, but you look at something like One Direction, right? And it's like, they were like the most famous.
Yeah.
You know, like
Literally.
people on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they split up, like their fame levels, they changed.
They did.
It did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know what that's even like, or I can't even imagine like everyone caring and then everyone like literally not caring as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no matter what way you slice it, you go from the most conspiracy way of looking at it to just the most very simple way of looking at Liam Payne's death. But I'm like, fame kills him. Like I don't care how you want to like
look
slice
at
it
or anything. Yeah.
But like either way, it goes back to
Mm-hmm.
it's fame, it's our glorification, it's how we praise people, it's how we're not meant to carry that weight, or how we become like, I don't know, accustomed to that weight,
or we look at celebrities as not as human.
Yeah.
You know, like we look at them as from such a distance, and then we like disconnect from their humanity. And so then it almost feels easier for people to like lift them up and then tear them down.
Isn't that what we wanted of She Who Shall Not Be Named, right? Like there was almost like this godlike thing about her.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Where it was like, we loved that. But now that it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, but we all knew that.
Right.
Like, yeah, she was too untouchable. That's dodgy.
Yeah.
But
like so quick.
But that's what we wanted from her, was to be this untouchable being.
Mm-hmm.
Man, like the human heart just wants God.
Honestly,
like I really
just constantly trying to fill this hole, you know.
Literally, we want something to worship. Like we were made to worship, and like,
and we're trying to find that in imperfect humans.
Yeah,
100%.
Man, like, do you think this is so not even on our questions, but like, maybe I should save this for the next episode.
Maybe I mean this could be a New Year pop culture episode.
I know, but like, do you think there's a healthy way to be famous?
Wow, that's actually a great question.
If you were famous and you feel like you're doing it in a really healthy way, please come
hit
contact us.
We would love
to interview you.
The thing is I think it doesn't even come from that person. Does that make sense? Like whoever the celebrity is, because
yes and no, but don't you think you have to draw your own boundaries though? Because you can't.
Okay, yes. So yeah, I think that yes, you as a celebrity, as a famous person, have to draw your own boundaries. But that, I'm like, even if you draw your own boundaries, like your fans dictate.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but you know, like, it all comes down to how other people are still viewing you.
Yeah.
Because if, for instance, for me, like, not as a famous person, if I end up going on like a bender, right? And which I wouldn't do.
Sadie would not do.
I would
not endorse or recommend.
I do not endorse that at all. But if I were to like fall and really just like go off the wire, get drunk, like, you know, like
throw a chair into a window at a pub,
buzz my head, you know what I mean? Like if I were to do all these things, there were people around me who would, you know, protect me, who would keep me accountable, who would like fight for me, right?
And tell you to smarten up.
Yeah, have an intervention or whatever, you know? Like, and then we would move on, right? But when it comes to celebrities, because we put them in this like whole different realm, and we're looking at them and we're looking up to them and we're gaining influence and like building, some people build their lives around celebrities, and you know what I mean?
I do.
So then when you're putting them up on this thing and they fall, then you're like, wow, how dare you? You know?
Yeah.
And granted, that's not every single fan.
No.
Like there are some fans who are, good and healthy fans. I feel like there's healthy fans and healthy famous people of how to be famous, whatever. But at the same time, like that is, does that make sense? Like that's what.
It's like
like what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. But
something in demand.
Hey,
Dead
we just
space
yeah,
on this
and
pod.
we just lost it.
It's not cause and effect, but there's something like cause and effect and something
Supply
in
and demand.
Supply and
Okay,
demand.
gotcha.
I was like, it's business, it's import,
It's
export,
something-
it's
products. It's yeah, supply and demand.
You know what I mean? Like we demand, so they give, we demand, and
Yeah,
like
yeah. Yeah, it's the business of it. And then we lose again. I feel like we're just going back to the conversation we had last week or whatever that was with Josiah.
With Josiah and Justin. It's
yeah.
all about money, baby.
Yeah, it's all
The
about money.
business.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, but I will also have a spiral if I talk more about how
Yeah,
the top 2% are just all about the money.
true. Okay, coming back to the whole pop culture moments.
The fun question.
The fun questions that we started. Again, we we go too deep. We should have like an episode where we try to not make it. Imagine if we had an episode and then we had someone off camera that was like buzzing us if we went too deep with the question.
That would be so funny.
That'd be hilarious. Anyway,
A YouTube special.
Yeah, YouTube short, Patreon on our Patreon
that we do.
that
our moms would subscribe to,
exactly.
and that's about it.
But another moment I was thinking of, which is along the same lines of all of the scandals that are happening, but I think is a more joyful moment, is just watching Justin Bieber's journey recently. And, you know, as Christians, being able to see someone like bounce back and be able to just, I don't know, I feel like he's like breathing again. Like I feel like that's the only thing I can say. Like he had his kid recently, and he's just kind of been like taking a step back, but then is still very present, you know, like he's doing things and then as well, like he's worshiping now. He's like worshiping with
Church
like
home.
Chandler Moore, Church Home, you know, and doing all these different things. And I feel like that is a very refreshing thing to see.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, another one of my biggest moments from this year. Was it this year or last year? I can't remember, but I feel like I was more made aware of it
this
recently.
year.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Hey, we love some encouragement.
Yeah.
Other than our typical spiral.
Exactly. We could spiral forever if we wanted to.
We really could spiral forever.
Do you have anything else to add to that? The pop culture?
Okay, well,
bits?
pop culture bits. So what I really want, I was like, it'd be so funny is if we like, okay, what was your favorite like internet meme or like joke or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
But I can't even think of any.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or like,
you're
what's your
right.
favorite TikTok trend? And I'm just like,
This is not to get deep again, but this is what trends are, right? They come and they go.
or we're
They're in our
so
brains and they're-
oversaturated with them that I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't even. It wasn't like, oh, that one thing made me laugh. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm laughing all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what the lines are, but I'm laughing at anymore.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That's like, I can guarantee like 10 minutes when we're done, I'm going to quote something and go,
Oh, that
that's the
one.
thing.
Yeah.
That's it, that trend. But yeah, honestly, right now I
So-
can't think of anything.
Neither can I. So,
Oh.
sorry.
Moving on. I mean, I don't know how long we've been talking, but I feel like we're getting good and wrapped, no?
Yeah, I mean, this is just for the chit chat anyway.
It is. We're just ending it, having a conversation on the couch, drinking, you know, having some hot water.
It's literally just hot water that I'm drinking right now.
Hey, sometimes that's all you need.
Thank you. Some people think it's, well, I used to think it's really weird, so I can't
Yeah.
say some people think it's really weird, but
My aunt I think she still does like hot water, lemon, and honey.
yeah, it's great. I mean, this, honestly, I want something warm, but I don't want tea or coffee.
That's fair.
Thanks.
Amen.
Anyway, that comment just kept me anchored.
But yeah, we're just here for the chats, closing out the year. So as we're closing it out, what is something that you are looking forward to in the new year? Or maybe even just like hoping for, you know,
That's a good one.
in the new year.
Well, we might as well go really deep, so we'll talk about my trauma for a second. Because it all applies, and it's all very like an unfinished thought. Because, to be fair, I had a breakdown about this yesterday.
Nice.
And then was like, okay, God, we really got it. Not get my life sorted, but like, I'd maybe start hoping again. Maybe that's a good way to put it. But basically, so I have an agent complex,
Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
Like I have had a fear of getting older for quite a while. And
Yeah.
especially in like my mid-20s, it's quite bad. Because I was like, no, like I can't be older than
don't wanna
23.
be-
Like this is
yeah.
horrible. And then I realized, around my birthday this year, is that ever since I was a kid, I was dead set on being on Forbes 30 under 30 list. So every year of my
Whoa.
20s that went by, I was like, that's just another, like yeah, it's not going to happen. Because
That's
I've
so
always
interesting.
been very like success and like, you know, yes, of course I want a family, but I want to be the CEO
Yeah.
with a family.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like
Right.
that sort of a thing. And you know, it's great and I love it. But obviously the path that I took in life was not that. You know, and I feel like I'm doing what God wants me to do, you know, doing like ministry and these kind of things. And so I had that realization on my birthday, like this past year, like, okay, you're 29 now. Like this is the last year. And so because I've got like aware of it, now
Yeah.
it's kind of the joke, like, oh, I've only got one more year. But I was having a conversation yesterday with our pastor actually. And we're just talking about things in life, and there has honestly, like, I don't feel bad saying this, like, there's been a lot of sacrifice for my personal life over the past several years of ministry. Doing stuff that I don't want to do, but I mean, that is life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or just in general, helping champion other people, you know? And of course, we have the podcast, and I love this. And sometimes this literally is my lifeline and my outlet of creativity.
Yeah.
But he made a comment, he was like, man, like, by now, like, you should be working at Vogue and all these things. And that was my dream when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be the creative director of Vogue and I want to do all these different things and whatever and start my own businesses. And he said that. And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah. Like, I'm not obviously going to be the editor of Vogue tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think this year I want to actually go back and be like, okay, what were those wild dreams I had as a kid? Like, and yes, there are so many things that we do here that I do recognize are me living my dream. Like having this podcast is me living my dream, you know, and having, you know, I have a magazine with, you know, another girl. Obviously I had to take a hiatus for a couple of years for several reasons. One, because I had to drop it, to be fair. Like I didn't have enough hands to carry it, you know, but it was kind of this thing of like, okay, what do I want? You know, like, and I love like creative direction and like marketing and branding and like, and production and like that kind of thing. I'm like, maybe I can actually do something with that. And I'm not going to say in a year I'm going to start a business where I'm on Forbes 30 under 30, you know? But sort of like
dreaming again,
like, oh, like I can do that, you know? And having the hope that like maybe it actually would happen. Again, not being on the list, but doing something that like when I was a kid I thought would put me on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is I don't feel like I've changed that much in those senses. You know, some people are like, oh, you were just a kid. Well, it's like, no, like, this is part of who I am. Like, it's ingrained in me, you know? So, yeah, it's kind of an unfinished thought.
But it's good.
But that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
that's real.
That's real. It's actually hilarious because I have been listening to a podcast recently.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. You're right. It's not hilarious. Okay.
A different word.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Because I have been listening. That was good. Courtney. Okay.
Oh, you know, I hope we don't cut this out.
I will be. Guess what? Because I have the power to do so.
Sure, you edit.
Okay, yes. Because I have been listening to a podcast recently that is talking about that exact thing, right? This podcast, it's a 4-part podcast. Or 4-part, like series, basically, of... It's hard to explain. Anyway, the guy speaking on the podcast is speaking to a group of like teenagers.
Oh, wow.
And he's talking about identity, right?
Okay.
And he's talking about how his kids, people in his life that he knows, who at a very young age felt like they were supposed to do something, supposed to be something so specific. And they just had that in them for so many years until it got to a point where it was like came into fruition, right? And I've been listening to this podcast and I'm like, that's super interesting. And it's not like they're manifesting it for themselves, but they just believe that of who they are, you know, like
I'm meant to be doing this,
you know? And so I just have been thinking as a 26-year-old, 27-year-old, like I've just been thinking about that thing and me. I'm like, what, not trying to go back to my being a kid, but what is that dream that has been there that I need to like almost walk in?
Yeah.
So I think for me, that's this next year. Bouncing off of what you were saying, for me is I'm really wanting to just walk more in my identity, like walking and recognizing what it is that I have in me and allowing myself to walk into it.
Yeah.
Because I know that I struggle with me personally, like imposter syndrome and like just even saying that like I'm good at something, you know?
Yeah, it's tough.
It is so tough. And so like I want to be more, I think just more aware of me and enough to like know that I can walk in and what I have, you know? So I think that for me is like my thing for next year. And whether that's in obviously like acting and theater and film and performing. Like, I love all of that, like that sphere. And so I'm like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
You know? Because for me, like for a kid, when I was a kid, I was like, I wanted to be on Broadway, you know?
Yeah.
And I got to a point in my adulthood where that almost happened. And then I just, you know, that door was shut, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
But then I'm realizing, like, for me, it was deeper than just being on Broadway. Like, what was it about that thing that I really wanted? Like, what is that root desire?
Exactly.
You know? So it's like coming back into that, basically.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That is so, and I think, like, I don't know if maybe people listen to this and be like, yeah, amazing. Or I think people might find it hard to, I don't say believe it for themselves too. So I don't know. I just feel this. And I'm like, and if you don't believe that you have something that you were like created for, like you do. Like you have a purpose and like,
absolutely do.
And it blows my mind. But when you have like good friends and good relationships like this too, and you really know people, you can see them. And like sometimes I look at you or I look at our other friends. I'm like, your personality mixed with your talents, mixed with your interests, mixed with the random things that like make you excited. Like,
yeah.
Like it gives you like there's such a purpose for that. You know what I mean? Because like there is a plan for your life. And I'm like, you know, this idealistic dream, if everyone was walking in the fullness of who they are, you know, then like we'd actually be walking in the way that God intended us to. And then like impacting, influencing like the spheres that, you know, we want to get into and that we have the special grace for.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I'm like, I don't want to come to like an age where I have a midlife crisis because I feel like God put something in me, but I'm just doing like,
right.
Even if it's like a good thing or a right thing or like, you know, and I'm like, I wonder like how much midlife crisis just because you ignored your purpose.
Yeah. That's where I don't want to be. Right?
Yeah. Oh no. Gosh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
That's like our not goal for 2025.
Not goal is midlife crisis. Quarter life crisis.
Quarter life.
Yeah,
what's in between?
I know. Yeah. A little
third life crisis.
A third. 3.333. Yeah. But that's so good actually.
Yeah.
And I think that will help, you know, as the ideal, people walking in their purpose will allow us as well to love each other better.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the bottom line of like why there's so much pain and conflict in the world is like this like lack of seeing each other and like loving each other. And I'm like, if we can recognize that like who we are and then being able to walk in that, then we're able, and if everyone did that, then we can love and admire someone else, even though they're completely different than me.
Because you're no longer a threat to me because I know what I'm created for.
Exactly. I'm not scared of you. I'm not, you know, like don't see you as a threat. And what a world that would be.
I know.
If we could. That's the dream.
That's the dream.
That's 2025. That's what we want. Everyone walking in their purpose.
Exactly. We have to. If this one was Enjoy More 2024, what could
Time to Thrive 2025.
I like that.
Time to Thrive
2025 because we're walking in our purpose.
Amen.
Believing that we were actually created for a reason.
Yeah.
And being willing to fail and to win whatever in the process of it, but it doesn't matter because
we're walking in
our
purpose.
Heck yeah.
It feels like I need a high five. That would need
I know. I actually hate high fives, but that was good.
It felt needed.
It felt needed. Anyway, guys, hopefully you guys have a Time to Thrive 2025 too.
Yes. We want that for you.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, it's almost actually New Year's.
It almost is.
So,
do you have any big Christmas plans? New Year's plans?
I don't know.
As of now, we don't know.
Hopefully by the time this airs, yes, I will.
But yeah.
Well, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I just want to have fun.
Let's have fun.
That's it.
Anyway, thank you guys so much. This is just the first, you know, season of the new era of the podcast. And we can't wait to have more conversations with you, with each other, with other friends. And we hope you stick along for the journey. But hey, we will see you next year.
Yes. Happy New Year, guys.
Bye, guys.